Good morning, students. I, Dr. Sanjana Sharma, welcome you to the class. Students, today I am going to introduce you to the novel Oliver Twist. Students, in our last class, we discussed life and achievement of the famous Victorian novelist Charles Dickens. Students, Oliver Twist in full, Oliver Twist or The Parish Boy's Progress is a very famous novel by Charles Dickens that was published serially under the pseudonym Boz from the year 1837 to 1839 in Bentley's Miscellany and in a three-volume book in the year 1838. So, students, uh, while the novel was being serialized in Bentley's Miscellany, Charles Dickens used a pseudonym Boss instead of revealing his true name. And in the year 1838, this novel was finally published in three volumes. Students, when I gave you an introduction to Charles Dickens, I told you that Charles Dickens was well versed in the poverty of London as he himself was a child worker after his father was sent to debtors' prison. In that introduction, I told you that as his father was unable to pay back the debt, he was imprisoned, and except Dickens, the rest of the family lived with his father. And during his father's imprisonment, Dickens worked in a leather factory. Students, his appreciation of the hardships endured by impoverished citizens stayed with him for the rest of his life, and this thing is evident in his journalistic writings and novels. Students, Dickens began Oliver Twist after the adoption of the Poor Law of 1834 by the then British government that halted government payments to the able bodied poor unless they entered workhouses. So, students, Oliver Twist, the novel Oliver Twist, became a vehicle for social criticism aimed directly at the problem of poverty in the 19th century London, or at large 19th century Britain. Student, this novel was the first of author's work to realistically depict the impoverished London underworld and to illustrate his belief that poverty leads to crime. Oliver Twist's mother dies after the birth of her child in a workhouse. We find this thing in the first chapter when the novel opens. The infant's father is unknown and the orphan is placed in a private juvenile home. After 9 years of mistreatment, this boy, Oliver, is returned to the workhouse for even more abuse. After representing his fellow sufferers in an attempt to get more food, Oliver is punished and is apprenticed to Mr. Sowerberry, an undertaker. Now Claypole, a charity boy working for Oliver's master, goads Oliver to rebel, for which Oliver is savagely flogged. Consequently, Oliver runs away and heads for London. Students, near London, Oliver joins company with John Dawkins, the artful dodger, who is a questionable character that brings the boy to Fagin. Fagin, who is the ringleader of a gang of criminals. Instructed in the art of picking pockets, Oliver goes out with Charles Bates and Dodger. His companions pick an old gentleman's pocket and flee, and Oliver is arrested for their offense. At the police station, the terrified boy is cleared by the testimony of the bookseller who witnessed the theft. Students, out of fear, Oliver collapses and is taken home by Mr. Brownlow, the victim of the crime. While Oliver recovers at his benefactor's home, Brownlow is puzzled by the resemblance between Oliver's features and the portrait of a young woman. Fagin is apprehensive and furious at Oliver's rescue. Students, Mr. Grimwig, Brownlow's friend, has no faith in Oliver, so Oliver is sent on an errand to test his honesty. The boy is recaptured by Nancy and his friend Bill Sykes, who is a vicious lawbreaker. Oliver is restored to Fagin, who holds him in strict captivity for a while. In the meantime, Bumble, a minor parish official from Oliver's birthplace, answers Brownlow's advertisement inquiring about Oliver. Bumble turns Oliver's benefactor against him by grossly misrepresenting the boy's history and character. Eager to get Oliver completely in his power by thoroughly involving the child in some crime, Fagin convinces Bill Sykes to use Oliver in a major burglary that is being planned. Sykes takes Oliver westward through the city to a rendezvous near Chester with Toby Cricket. Students, at the house that is to be burglarized, Oliver is hoisted through a small window. The occupants are aroused, and in the whole chaos, Oliver is shocked. The robbers run off with wounded Oliver but abandon him in a ditch. In the workhouse, Sally, the old pauper who attended Oliver's mother, is dying. At her urgent request, Mr. Corney, the matron, sees the old woman alone before she expires. Immediately thereafter, Bumble and the matron agree to marry. Fagin is greatly upset when Toby Cricket returns alone. Fagin makes anxious inquiries about Sykes. He then has an ominous meeting with a person called Monks, who is angry with Fagin. Fagin, who he claims has failed in his obligation to ruin Oliver by tricking him into a lawless life. Students, after some time, Oliver regains consciousness in a ditch. He stumbles to the nearest house, which proves to be the site of the attempted burglary. The owner, Mr. Miley, takes the boy in, protects him and takes him to her doctor, Mr. Losburn. The boy is taken to a cottage in the country where Mrs. Miley's niece Rose suffers in a near fatal illness. In the town yard, Oliver encounters a repulsive stranger who later spies on him with Fagin. Rose rejects the proposal of Mrs. Miley's son Harry, but he does not accept her refusal as final. Monks meets the Bumbles and purchases a locket that Mrs. Bumble redeemed with the pawn ticket that she took away from the dead Sally, who had received the pledge from Oliver's dying mother. The trinket contains a ring inscribed with the name Agnes. Monks drops it into the river. So students, this much for today. We will continue with this discussion in our next class as well. Thank you very much.